Hi, we're at the Museum of Nature and there's a very exciting exhibition that opens tomorrow.
Yes, so Wild Color Couleur Vive opens and is open until January 10th, 2027.
Yes,
so
so-
I'm Isabelle Corriveau. I'm Director of Content and Digital Strategies at the Canadian Museum of Nature.
There are many stories here.
Yes. So the idea is that this is an exhibition that comes from the Field Museum in Chicago, and we've also taken advantage to add specimens from our collection. So you will find 8 color stories highlighting the work of the Canadian Museum of Nature.
And what do we have here?
So the exhibition is really portioned up according to the colors of the rainbow. We start the exhibition in the wildly colorful zone. In fact, we start with the rainbow in its entirety. And then as we go through the exhibition, we'll go through the various sections. We'll talk about black and white, UV, then we'll go through all the primary and secondary colors. So really the red, orange, yellow, et cetera, until we come back into the rainbow at the end.
Perfect. Look at the colorful peacock. There are so
Yes,
many colors
absolutely.
there.
Pheasants, we've got all kinds of objects, whether it is minerals, shells, lichens, specimens. We really show a diversity of objects. Here we are in the black and white section. The key, and you can see some of these striking objects. We talk about why zebras have stripes, for example. And really one of the key specimens here is our silverback gorilla, right? So we talk about how gorillas are born black and how the males mature to become silverbacks. So we talk about color in fur, pigments, genes, and how color is used to attract a mate, for example, how it's used to warn. Don't come near me, I'll sting,
Yes.
I'm poisonous, or to camouflage so that the predator can attack.
Right. And I heard that the black and white is their cooling system as well.
It is, and it's a way also that to not separate them from the herd, so they are harder to hunt.
We're just speaking about zebras there.
The zebras, exactly.
Right.
Maybe we'll go into the UV section. So part of that is to look at objects under a different light. UV light. One of the specimens here is called Stormy. So to our naked eye, this is a very simple white block of marble. With the UV light, all of a sudden, we see all of the compositions. This is a cue to the chemistry of this specimen. And so we're surrounded here with a slew of caseworks that show us different types of objects under UV light.
It makes you think of your sunglasses with UV, how often you see something a little differently.
And it's also to understand that human vision is not the same as animal vision. We have 3 cones. Dogs have 2, for example. Butterflies have 5. They can see light in a much different way than we do.
Which attracts them to the flowers.
Exactly. So since we are highlighting our audio stories, we do provide transcript for all of the audio stories. And then you can get a sneak peek as we will head in through the colors. This is our leopard. We're going to head towards the right, and we're going to start our journey into the rainbow of color with the color red. So we do explain a bit about the science of color. This is where we show you and talk a bit about the difference about how animals see colors differently. So for example, birds, this is how the human eye sees it. This is how birds see color. Isn't that fantastic?
My word.
So those extra cones really provide a different kind of vision. And so this is our opportunity to step into those different species and get a better understanding. Then we go into red.
That is a wonderful, wonderful part of the exhibitions.
Yes. And it's about talking about color, how color appears in animals. Pigment and genes are a very important factor. We've also taken advantage to show, like I mentioned, pieces from our collection. This is a herbarium sheet of red algae. This was actually someone from our botany team, Dr. Amanda Savoie. Actually, when she goes on her research trips, this is something that was collected in Cambridge Bay, Nunavut. So we do speak about all this variety of objects. We speak about red, for example, as a warning, as a way to attract. So for example, a male cardinal, the redder and more vibrant he is, the more he will attract a mate. And a lot of that is due to what his diet is. The berries he ingests, etc., make his plumage more vibrant. Red can warn, if we think about red peppers, it's a way to warn us that they're hot, spicy. Snakes use red. Yes. And then we continue our journey into orange. A fun little thing here is about, and I mentioned about diet, whales eat a lot of krill. Krill is bright orange. So in fact, their poop is actually orange, which is just, something interesting and fun for the kids.
Yeah.
We get to yellow. When we do talk about yellow and we talk about what does yellow and how can color be a warning, if you think about bees, if you think about wasps, that's a way to warn us that they can sting. They can hurt us and be poisonous. Our wonderful leopard, this is an example of color as camouflage, right?
Yeah.
And the idea that he can be in stealth mode, ready to pounce on his prey, hidden in the tall grasses because of his rosettes, because of the patterns on his fur. And in green, we can't help but think of the lush jungles, the lush forests, the birds, the bugs that need to hide to protect themselves. And that will be of that color, of the same green color, so that they blend into the background and are not prey. Some bugs, for example, have iridescent shells. That is to simulate water on a leaf so that they can be camouflaged from their predators.
Oh.
And as we continue through the rainbow, we're in blue, my favorite color. And this is an opportunity to talk about water, to talk about the blue whales, but also to talk, here the CMN object that we're putting forward are beetles, right? And once again, that idea that blue can be camouflage. Something of interest here is we talk about how color is structural. It's not always pigment, and we give the example of the butterfly. So we have our blue morpho butterfly here that for all intents and purposes, for you, for me, this is blue. It's not. It's actually, pigment is brown. It is the way the light reflects off of it. And so we try to show this phenomenon here, and that how you magnify the wings, you can see the scales. And in fact, the scales are a series of textures, almost like a mini forest. And this is what causes our eye to see this butterfly as blue. So it's a structural color.
Yes.
And then the last color we dip into is purple. So necessarily amethyst. We see extraordinary grasshoppers, birds. It's a very rare color in nature. And we talk about mushrooms as well. So it is an opportunity to talk about this hue.
And we must talk about, of course, the octopus.
And the octopus as well, our very intelligent friend.
Yes.
So these are very colorful environments. They're very engaging for all ages. We wanted to make this playful. Color is so accessible. Everybody knows what colors are. Yeah. Everybody loves to play with color. Everybody is fascinated by color. And this for us was just an opportunity to step into that rainbow.
Yes, and after our winter, it's lovely to come in here and see color. We need color.
Yes, and to understand the science of color in nature as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Isabelle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.